Hi, welcome to the fourth video on table views. We're going to finish up table views in, well, it'll probably take us 2 videos to finish them up. Possibly we'll finish in this video. We're going to look at another app in which we will build a table for looking at a large collection of data, not just a few rows. Let me demo it. This collection is a lot of first names of people, and there are thousands of them, and they're organized into sections based on first name. So we have all the names starting with A. I've scrolled a bunch and I'm still not even halfway through the A's, but I could go to E over here in the index and it takes me to that section. So the data is organized in sections. I have an index to move me sort of faster through the sections. But let's say I wanted to do search. And I've scrolled away my search bar. And restart. So say I wanted to, rather than just scroll through, search all the names that say have a double A in them. And the search bar lets me rapidly do that. I can also filter my search results into either names that are short and only include a double A, or long names. There's only the one that includes a double A. I could look at all the names that have an A at all in them, or all the names that have a Z at all in them. That is what we're going to build in this app. So let's get started building a new app that implements that. We'll create a new project. It's a single view app. And the first thing we'll do is go ahead and set up our storyboard, which we'll do just the way we did before. That is, we'll grab a table view. We'll make it take up the whole screen. We'll connect it to the view controller as data source and delegate, though I think, again, only data source is really needed for this app. We're going to make one slight change. We're going to have this data grouped by sections, so the style, rather than being plain, we're going to switch to grouped. And we're going to need to import all the data not into the assets folder, but just into our main folder. So let's do that. I'll grab it from the book source code directory. And it's a P list called sorted names, and I'll just drag it into the top level for our project. And let's look at it. So I'll double click on it, and it's a the structure of it is a dictionary. So they're key value pairs. The key is the first letter of the names in that section, and the value is an array. The array would list all the names in that section, so I can expand that out. So again, the value is just an array, so it's a list of items indexed by number, and I have that for each of the sections. So we'll need some code to read that into our application. And let's go ahead and declare in the view controller some data structures to make that happen for us. We'll make that, like I said, the view controller is going to be the data source as well for the table view, so we'll cause it to implement that protocol, and we will define an identifier. Again, this is a string for reusing cells. There's actually a typo in the book here if you're looking at it. I think it lists this as not a table identifier but table indentifier, but it's not a big deal as long as you use the same text consistently. Okay, so let's define then the names are going to be everything. So it's a dictionary of arrays where the key type is a string and the value type is a string array. And of course it's an optional. And then we want another array just for the keys that is just the first letters. So that's just an array of strings. We need an outlet for our table view. Let's go back to the storyboard, bring up our assistant editor, and we'll add an outlet, which we'll call table view, the way we've been doing for the other apps in this chapter. Go back to our view controller, and we need some code to populate the names and keys properties from the P list. So I'm going to grab that code from the book source code. So first of all, I'll register a type of cell, but then we haven't talked about reading data in from P lists, but we specify with this line a path to the file that we're trying to read, sortednames.plist, and we declare an NS dictionary, and we can actually, because this dictionary is structured exactly like this data structure, it's as simple as saying that the only initializer you need is that path. And then we can grab the list of all the keys from that dictionary and just get an array of those, sort them, and make them the set of keys for the application. Okay, so that reads our data in. Now we need some data source methods to display them. And we'll look at that code. There's only one section, or rather, the number of sections is the size of the set of keys. So that's how many sections we have. To return the number of entries in a section, we have to look it up in the names array, and then we can return the count for the sub array of names for that key. For the header, title for header in section, we just return the keys for a given section number. And to display a cell, We'll grab a cell using the recycling technique we've talked about. We'll get the key from the index path. That's a number. From that number we can pick the section, and from the row within the section we can pick the text, and then the text is the only field we're filling in, and then we return that. Now we can run this. The only thing that it's going to do is display our data and organize it into sections. Okay, well, that's looking good. We had an A there. I'll try to scroll down, and at least you can see the section header for the B's. It's pretty painful without any index or anything to assist our speed of scrolling. But there we go. There are the B's with their section header. So let's add the index as a first amendment. That's a data source method, and all we've really got to do is add a function that can tell how to get to it. So we pass that array, it'll display it on the right hand side, and when we pick a section name, it'll go to that section. Not bad for 2 lines of code, 3 lines of code. The next thing we're going to add is the search controller, and that's its own user interface component that we have to add, and we will have to make the view controller implement updating search results. So we need to add another protocol here, search UI search results updating. And we'll have to add some functions appropriate for that. Let's create a CocoaTouch class for the search results controller. So we'll go and do that next. So we're going to add a new file to our project, which is a CocoaTouch class. We'll call it, we're going to implement UI search results controller. I'm sorry, it's a UI table view controller. And the name we're going to use is search results controller. Subclassing UI table view controller. And actually, I'm sorry, this is the protocol. This is the one that should have been UI search results updating. So let me go and take that back out of the view controller. Okay. This is going to need data structures as well to keep track of the selected stuff that we're going to display. So we'll grab some code, more code from the book source code. And for the moment, we'll just get this, which tells a cell identifier to use and the same data structures for names and keys. And we're going to add another set of strings that are our array of strings, which are just the names that have been filtered out. We're going to set that initially. We'll initially set the keys and the filtered names to be empty arrays. In vid4, we've got to register the kind of cells we're going to use, and that's all we have to do here, because we're going to populate this thing later. We're not going to populate it when the view first loads. Back in the view controller, we need to declare that we're going to use the search controller. So we'll declare that here as our custom class. And it's an optional. And we've got to initialize the search results controller in the vid4 function for our view controller. And let's talk about what's going on in this code. We're going to specify that we're instantiating a results controller that's a search results controller. We are giving it the names and keys from our initialized that we initialized in the view controller, and then we are assigning I've misspelled something here. Search controller. Oh, I gave the wrong type up here. This should be a UI search controller, not a search results controller. We create our results controller, give it the names and keys. So that's going to actually handle doing the search. And then we make a search bar, setting some buttons, a placeholder for the text, size it to fit, make the header of our table view be the search bar, so we don't have to actually lay it out in the interface builder. It's handled automatically. Now, to handle actually doing the searching, we need to, we've got these buttons for short names, long names, and whatnot. Let's put those constants in our search results controller so that we can use them later. And then we'll do the necessary data source and delegate methods. So we're going to specify what is a long name, what is a short name, and so forth. And we need to put in the code for the data source and search updating methods. This is, we don't need that stub declaration because we've already done it, but let's go through what, and we can fix this warning. We can just, you don't have to say the number of characters in the name, just the count of the name itself. So let's talk about what's going on here. The number of rows is the number of names left in the filtered names array, and we'll just populate cells from the filtered names array rather than the full array in our method to display a particular cell. So the only thing left then is the update search results function, which is going to, as another character is typed in the search bar, change the list of displayed names. So we get the text from the search bar. We see if any buttons are pressed. We'll take everything out of the filtered names array, and then we'll add them back in. And we add them back in based on whether or not the name is the appropriate scale, and whether or not they returned in the search string. And then based on whether or not the name is in the search, we'll add in a section if it's necessary, and then we reload the whole table. So spend some time looking at this. This is the key function for how the search the list of names returned from the search is updated. And I think we've got everything now. Let's try running that. And we'll enter a search term. We've got an error going on here. As when I enter a new search term, things are not filtering properly. On this one, actually, I'm a bit stuck. I'm not sure why we get no names displayed when we try to select something. So I am going to stop the video here. I'll figure out what my bug is and just finish up with a very short video where we fix things. You might also, if you've been following along with me, do the same. So it's a good opportunity for you to do a little learning about debugging. Look through this, see if you can figure out what we've done wrong, and I will see you in the next video.